What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here for the official Wrestling Inc. podcast alongside my co-host Raj Giri. After an eventful Survivor Series, what we'll call it, eventful, yeah. Usually we go in chronological order. This being such a big event, we figured we would lead with the main event, or what would become the co-main event. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns advanced to the finals of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship title tournament. Roman Reigns won in a pretty quick match for a main event. I think it went 8 or 9 minutes. Good match while it lasted. Had a lot of heat behind it. It felt like a big main event. Roman Reigns won clean. Then Triple H came out. He got speared by Roman Reigns. This brought out Sheamus, who Brogue kicked Reigns twice and won the title. Raj, how did you feel?
I mean, you could tell something was up with how early the show it looked like it was ending. And you know, I kind of thought, you know, Sheamus would cash in and fail. I mean, to me, he's just been, you know, relegated to, you know, bottom mid card. And I think when you're hurting right now with heels on top, you don't want to throw someone that people see as a lower mid card guy thrust into that role. And
they really reinforced that tonight.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, exactly. He looked the way he's been looking, has been booked to look for the past several months, you know, in that Survivor Series elimination match. It wasn't even announced. They didn't even, you know, it wasn't even advertised. And yeah, he was, you know, jobbed out cleanly. So it just, I mean, they have to have a top heel. I guess they went with, I don't know. I would have rather went with Kevin Owens. You know, obviously Dean Ambrose turning, I think would have been the most interesting, but I could see why they don't want to turn him, because he is, you know, without him, I mean, it's basically just Roman Reigns on the babyface side, and he's booed most of the time. So, you know, this way they got someone who moves merch and that fans like, and so, yeah, I think, I don't know. I just feel like this was of all the ways you could have went, I kind of feel like this is the worst one you could do. I don't think a Sheamus. I mean, I will say this: Sheamus is probably the one guy that Roman Reigns won't get booed, you know, with, like he would have with Owens, he would have with Ambrose. He won't with Sheamus, but I don't think that's gonna, you know, get people excited or turn things around for a company that's been stale for a while.
Yeah, it's not going to make up for the crap that I'm sure they'll have decent matches. I mean, Sheamus generally, with guys he can beat the crap out of and vice versa, that will dish it back to him, generally has good matches. The thing is, it's not that there's a dislike for Sheamus. There's just a not caring. Nobody cares about him. And why should we? Why should we care about this guy who his last really successful run was when he was kind of an ass-kicking heel that would just shut up and just beat the hell out of people. He's not like that anymore. He literally used the line, "Let's get jiggy with it," earlier in the night and was made fun of by a mid-card tag team. He was then beaten by he was pinned by Ryback. If I'm Ryback, I'm wanting a title shot right now. I'm wanting it on Raw tomorrow night. If you just pinned Sheamus clean in the middle of the ring. There seemed like there were, and I agree with you with Sheamus being the only guy that Reigns will get cheered for. I finally feel bad for Roman Reigns. I mean, it took them all this. I feel bad that he had to eat a pin from Sheamus after. Yeah, man.
That footage of him crying after, you know, at the very end, I will say, you know, that looked very real. You know, like at least someone loses the title and they make it out to be a big deal, as opposed to it happens. So, you know, I thought that was kind of cool. I know a lot of people are giving Reigns crap for that, but I thought that was a neat little thing. But, you know, I just don't. My guess is this is a stopgap measure. It's something that they just need to do because they have no other alternatives, and they don't want to put the belt on Owens. They don't want to turn Ambrose. So at least they have a program for Reigns, because otherwise they have no one. And
but my thing is, they do have alternatives. They could have turned Ambrose or Reigns. It could have happened. It could have been.
Well, if you have Ambrose and Reigns, then who do you have headlining the B shows?
I guess that's true. Man, that is a rough situation.
I mean,
Cena will be back soon, within a few weeks, right? I mean, he's due back.
I think full time at the end of December, so we got another month. I think he'll be doing some stuff before that, but at least for the next few weeks, you don't really have anyone headlining that could headline those second shows. At least you got Ambrose that could do one leg and Reigns with the other. And so you got Ambrose and Owens, on one tour, and then Reigns and Sheamus. But man, this is just not the kind of stuff that gets people interested or excited.
Man, this is a sad state of affairs right now. It's looking pretty rough right now. What's going to be on WrestleMania?
I think the only things that make sense right now would be either Reigns and Triple H, because Triple H doesn't really have a program now, because Rock. No. It seems like Rock will be out, so you could do Reigns and Triple H, or you do Reigns and Cena. I mean, those are probably Reigns and Cena. That's probably one match where you wouldn't get the fans, booing him either. Yeah, and you could actually have kind of a passing of the torch if because let's face it,
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Reigns or Cena won the Royal Rumble this year again? The reaction that's going to get.
I wouldn't be surprised. Who else? I mean, really.
I know. And Cesaro's hurt now too.
Yeah, and it's not like they were going to do anything with Cesaro anyway, but it hurts the show big time, because you could always count on him producing a great match on Raw. So man, it's a bleak looking period right now. I think with Reigns, and because let's face it, they've got their mind set up on Reigns. Mm-hmm. It's not Ambrose, so yeah. I don't know. I don't see them doing Cena and Undertaker. It just I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the right dynamic for Taker's last match. I think it's got to be a heel, and someone that Taker could win pretty decisively. I don't know.
Well, man, what bigger heel could there be for the Undertaker than John Cena?
Right, but he wouldn't work as a heel.
Yeah, I know.
But
this is just I'm concerned. And here's the thing. I mean, I watch Raw for my job, and I'm not looking forward to it. What are people who don't do this for a living, and that make earn money off of it? I wonder how they feel, because at least I get to look forward to that. What do they have to look forward to? There's so many missing pieces from this roster. There's so many. It's just like Sheamus, and it's very divided. There are so many people that just, for some reason, just dislike Roman Reigns personally, that are thrilled about it. And I can't speak for everybody. There are some people that are thrilled with Sheamus winning this title. Then there are some that weren't, but don't like Reigns. And I'm like, man, you all were the same guys saying anybody but Roman a few months ago. Well, you got anybody but Roman.
Yeah, man. And I think, I don't know. I mean, I think they'd have a problem with it if Sheamus cashed in on Ambrose. Yeah. But yeah, the Reigns hate, we've talked about it before. Yeah, his promos aren't that great. I think they're better than Bray Wyatt's at this point, and not in delivery, but just in that I don't tune out immediately. I'm just kind of watching like a car wreck. But it's a weird state of affairs right now, and I think we're gonna see, we got Reigns and Sheamus, and I don't see Sheamus headlining WrestleMania. I don't see him holding the title till then. I'd almost think you do Reigns and Sheamus at the Royal Rumble, or you do a couple, you do it at TLC and whatever, and have a schmaz ending. Then you do it at the Royal Rumble. Have Reigns win the title there, and then have him face Cena or whoever else. I can't think of anybody else that would make sense. Maybe Brock Lesnar again.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm legitimately worried about. Yeah, they were going to try to fill up that stadium too. I mean, and they may still do it. Who knows? But good God, I'm calling in the reinforcements. If I'm WWE and I don't know his film schedule, I'm begging Batista to come back. I'm begging Chris Jericho to come back. I'm getting any type of star power that I can on this show. Batista might be another guy that Reigns could get cheered against. Perhaps. I don't know. Because if he's not being pushed as a babyface, fans don't generally hate him as much unless he's wearing all blue. Then they give him hell. But
and that wouldn't work anyway because Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is going to start filming soon.
Oh yeah, that's true, man. Bummer. Well, we'll start with the beginning of the show. I say start, but we've spent 10 minutes on the main event, and we'll talk about it more at the end. But the kickoff match was the return of Goldust. We saw Goldust. He took on, alongside 4 partners who all tagged with him. It was on the kickoff show. Yeah. It's slipping my mind right now. But they faced. I know who they faced. They faced Cosmic Wasteland and crew. This is obviously most interesting because of the Goldust Stardust exchange. But this was. Did you expect to see Goldust back ever? Let alone
I expected him at some point. But why not advertise this match ahead of time and advertise a mystery partner? You know,
the other one, yeah.
Wow.
It was, by the way, it was the Dudley Boys, Titus O'Neil, and Neville. No Darren Young, nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, I guess they've split. I guess because Titus is back to using his old music, you know, and they haven't teamed. I don't think since earlier.
Well, he
month,
was.
Right.
He was with Darren Young was with him on Superstars last week. I want to say maybe the week before. I don't know. But yeah, they took on Cosmic Wasteland, Miz, and Bo Dallas. My fiance came in during this, and her instant reaction was, "Damn, Bo Dallas is fat."
He has put on some weight, and that was one of the first things I noticed too. I was like,
he hasn't been running those victory laps.
Yeah. He's been skipping cardio day at the gym. Man,
which I mean, let's be real, man.
Like those out there.
Those rotunda genetics aren't the best if you look at Bray, which I don't know. Have you seen their sister?
Yeah. I mean,
she's a monster. She is a monster. Yeah. She's a freak of nature. But yeah.
He needs to switch to tights or something.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
It's really showing.
Or he should work out, perhaps.
Sometimes you can't beat your genes. Sometimes, you know.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. The older I've gotten, I've found that out. But I mean, Bo Dallas is still like 24, 25. Yeah, he's 25 years old. Yeah. Neville got eliminated, and that was it. Goldust, the Dudley Boys, and Titus were your survivors. And it went 18 minutes, a really nothing match, really. Yeah, then we had Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio.
And again, why would you have Neville be the one guy that gets eliminated? The one like young guy
because they hate people getting over. They don't want anybody to get over.
Keep the Dudleys and I could understand Goldust. You probably don't want him losing right away, but geez, instead you have everyone that's a younger talent, you know, is eliminated.
Also, if you're going to do this and you're going to have the baby faces completely dominate, and it's going to have the Dudley Boys, why not make it just an elimination tables match? Have they put like a couple people through tables? They've not had a tables match since they came back. This is a good opportunity. If you want to get the crowd hot for a show, and this crowd was not hot, mind you, all night they were not hot. Just have the Dudley Boys and company put a bunch of guys through tables. Maybe you can set up a feud or something that way, because then you don't have to pin a bunch of people. But yeah, everybody's man. Well, then we kicked off the pay-per-view portion with Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio.
Well, they did that little backstage thing with Tyler Breeze and Summer Rae.
Oh yeah,
which those things are such a complete waste of time. I mean, the wrestlers. They get the most innocuous tweets to read out, and the wrestlers don't even answer them half the time. So it's like, what's the point?
Well, I bet Vince loved this. Vince Russo.
Yeah, right.
I bet he really enjoyed it. I can't wait to ask him what he thought of modern day Macho Man and Elizabeth's backstage segment, because I know he watched.
But what is his accent supposed to be?
I don't know. He's Canadian, isn't he? But that's not what it is. I think he's the accent is just Zoolander.
This gimmick's gonna kill him. He needs to start tweaking it yesterday.
I think it's better than what he portrayed in NXT just because he gets to do more, but it's not going to go anywhere.
No, it's corny. You know, it's fine. Like, you know, it's fine filler. You know, it's like Santino Marella stuff where it's entertaining-ish, but you never see that person rising above a certain level.
Yeah.
And you know, I think Tyler Breeze is talented enough that he doesn't have to be pigeonholed to that like comedy heel, you know, character. So I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe he can start like a doghouse stable of people who got crappy gimmicks with Fandango and Adam Rose,
right?
And that can go nowhere too. But yeah, we had Roman Reigns and Alberto Del Rio. I really liked this match. It went about 14 minutes, I think. It's definitely Del Rio's best work since coming back to WWE because he's had some real train wrecks in the ring.
I thought this was the best match on the show.
Yeah, I agree. And that can't be a coincidence that Roman Reigns keeps having really good matches. And people will keep saying, oh, well, he gets carried. Alberto Del Rio hasn't carried a damn person since coming back to WWE. So it can't be that. And everybody knew who was going to win this match, and I still thought it was a good match. And oftentimes, you know, when you know somebody's going to win, it's kind of hard to even get into a match to enjoy it. But they had a really good one. They had Reigns having his arm worked over. But yeah, all in all, it was to set the stage for the main event, but a good match.
Yeah. I mean, coming into this match, you know, and seeing the lack of heels, when I was thinking if they didn't turn Ambrose, then they probably should have had Del Rio just lose by DQ, and you know, after the match, like attack, you know, Roman Reigns' arm, because he's like the only one that's like a credible heel, like near the top. I don't see him as a top heel, but you know, he would do better than Sheamus in that role, especially if they, I don't know, tweaked or got rid of Zeb, because that's just bringing him down. But so yeah, I thought you know that, but you know, with the creative direction they went in, I thought it ended up being fine, and yeah, it was a really good match.
Maybe Reigns can show up in AAA and lay claim to the Mega Championship since he beat their most recent champion.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do that. I'm sure that he's really excited to. Well, actually, I think Rey Mysterio and John Morrison are gonna fight for that title or something like that. They were like, no tournament, we'll just have these two guys. But yeah, by the way, guys, yeah, Del Rio will not be dropping the title. They already stripped him of it and things like that, the AAA title. So yeah, he's sticking with WWE. I think he's doing maybe one appearance for Puerto Rico, and that's it.
Yeah.
But next up, we had Ambrose versus Owens. Another really good match. The finish was excellent, I thought. This one, a little more up in the air than Reigns and Del Rio. Yeah, just, you know, what you would expect from these guys. They didn't get as much time, about 11 minutes, but they made the most of it. And yeah, I wonder if Kevin Owens, you know, this has been better than most of his recent matches. Do you think he took the Melissa Joan Hart tweets to heart? No pun intended.
I don't know. No, I thought this was kind of one of his regular matches. I actually thought this match was a little disappointing, just because of who's involved. I was expecting a little more. So, but it was good. I just was pretty excited about it when it was coming up, and during the match I was like, this is all right.
I liked it, but it's hard for me to top anything for Kevin Owens this week when we were getting tweets from Melissa Joan Hart. Come on now.
Yeah.
And that was her commenting on our stories too, which was really cool because people were like, "Oh, look, some troll already registered the account," and she tweeted us and said, "No, that's me."
Yeah. And
apparently she's been doing this for quite a while, but she said she's been using an alias. So.
And you could see why, you know, she gets hammered when she doesn't agree, you know, over one wrestler. And you know, I can understand Kevin Owens because he's in I can understand him getting upset over it because he's in this position where, management, a lot of them look at him a certain way. A lot of them look at him as out of shape and lazy. And when fans tweet it, it's not a big deal. When a celebrity just uses the word lazy, even if she's referring to creative and the character, those tweets stand out to, management. And, management could easily go to Vince and be like, hey, these actresses are tweeting about Kevin Owens being lazy. And that's something he's constantly having to overcome. So I could understand on his side why he got a little bent out of shape, but for his fans and stuff, I don't know. It's cool to see a celebrity actually tweeting about wrestling like a fan. Sorry, excuse me. Not like, the WWE sponsored tweets where they're like, oh, this is going to be a great match. Oh, Reigns just looks great.
that like Snooki would do or something like that.
Just towing the company line. And so, she's, actually trying to have a real wrestling discussion. And then, she DM'd us about how people were, saying stuff about her family and her kids. So.
Yeah, that's crossing the line, guys. Like, I've always, and even us when we write stories, we'll get heat on the boards with stories all the time. But the way that, I can't remember who maybe told me, maybe it was Bill Apter that told me this, but he said, if somebody doesn't know you personally, try not to take it personal. But when they bring up your family or, somebody you care about, it's kind of hard to not take that personally.
Right.
And it happens a lot more these days. Obviously, I doubt people would be sending her physical fan mail saying, or hate mail saying, I can't believe you said that about Kevin Owens. But in the age we live in, that happens a lot more. But yeah, guys, I encourage you to not maybe say bad things about people's families just based on pro wrestling type things. In the grand scheme of things, Kevin Owens, and whether he's lazy or not, isn't that important to trash somebody's family. But
yeah. And he's not lazy, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. And she had said that she thought it was the writers that were lazy, creative team, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we had the New Day, Sheamus, and King Barrett against Lucha Dragons, the Usos, and Ryback in another unadvertised Survivor Series match. They couldn't have brought this up beforehand. They couldn't have announced it on SmackDown. They couldn't have done anything like that. New Day's been one of the hottest acts lately. Maybe tell people that they're going to be on the pay-per-view.
It makes no sense. It's the event's called Survivor Series. Those matches are what the pay-per-view is all about, and they don't even advertise them. They just mention that they're going to have one. So it's like, why? I don't know.
I'll liken this to UFC again. Who's a really popular UFC fighter that isn't necessarily the champion? We'll just say Miesha Tate. What if we tuned into Miesha, or we didn't? We were going to skip last night's UFC because it didn't look that good to us. Then we find out afterwards, oh hey, Miesha Tate, your favorite fighter, your favorite fighter in the world, fought in a surprise fight. It's like, well, why the hell didn't I watch that? Well, it's because they didn't advertise it. Why would you watch it?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. They came out. New Day was clowning on everybody. Then Sheamus took the mic and said, it's time to get jiggy or something like that. And I thought it was kind of funny that they actually stopped the music while that happened, like it was a movie trailer. They do that drop all the time. It was funny at the time, but then when I looked back and I'm like, damn, they really set the stage for this guy, didn't they?
Yeah.
And hopefully JBL gets the message that saying get jiggy is really dorky and he shouldn't ever do it again because he does it all the time.
The announcing, it's just gotten horrid. I mean, Jerry Lawler's jokes are beyond repulsive now. Just, the stuff with like the Orange Crush and be outstanding, that outstanding joke he told to Michael Cole. It's just, if you have friends over and, you just get embarrassed with stuff.
It's hard to justify it.
Right. Xavier Woods' hair was crazy.
It was fantastic.
It was awesome. It was like a cross between James Brown and Elvis.
Xavier's pay-per-view hair is going to become an attraction.
Yeah. And man, I cringe every time Big E does that spear to the outside.
The YOLO dive, I call it, because he's going to die one day doing that.
Yeah, you should really save that, for huge matches.
Big matches.
Yeah, not a unadvertised, Survivor Series match.
Well, we talked about Darren Young earlier, and I've brought this up before. Darren Young will do backdrops onto the apron 2 minutes into an opening match on Superstars. And I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I will say this, man. The New Day were really over again. And, they've got something here with them. And I hope they use them right because, when they got eliminated, I think, the company probably expected a big pop, but man, it went silent when Big E was eliminated. Yeah. They did not like that at all.
King Barrett had some hilarious dance moves. They were about as good as his push.
No, Barrett was awesome, but he got a jobber treatment.
Yeah, another guy who at one time looked like he could be a good piece of the machine and is not. I think. I can't remember which Uso survived, but it was him, Kalisto, and Ryback.
Yeah, it was Jay.
Yeah, Jay Uso. Anything to add to this? It's a shame because I thought on the heel side you have 5 guys that, if booked right, could be really good.
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of surprised that they haven't really done much with the Usos. With the New Day. Because New Day, they're not really feuding with anybody right now. They're the tag team champions, and
I hope we get some sort of tag team TLC match. Jesus, I hope so at TLC.
Yeah, it might be better for them to go with the Lucha Dragons for now, and because you need a team for WrestleMania, and who else other than the Usos would have a good match with them? Unless there's always a good chance they won't even have a tag title match, but if they do. It'd be better to hold that off, but
I have a lot of respect for the Usos because they were going nowhere like several years ago, and they basically they reinvented themselves and got themselves over. Because after that initial push, they were really nothing for a long time. Then they came out with the face paint and the new entrance, and it worked for them, and they got over big time. So it's not easy to get over at all being a tag team, especially a few years ago. But yeah, next up we had Charlotte and Paige, and you know what, Raj? It's a good thing that they used Reed Flair's death because it got a bunch of heat on this match.
Yeah, wow. People, that took this match to another level, didn't it?
Yeah, let me tell you. They got in there. They hated each other so much. Charlotte just hated Paige so much after making fun of her little brother that they locked up. That's what I do. When I get really mad at somebody and I want to kick their ass, I'm like, whoa, buddy, calm it down. Don't punch me in the face. We got a collar and elbow tie-up just to set this off.
Yeah. Well, I was happy that they pretty much ignored the whole Reed Flair part of the angle for this.
Which was weird because they brought it back. They re-showed the thing on SmackDown.
Yeah, but was that... That was done on Tuesday, though, right?
But I mean, this was
they could have cut it out. They could have.
This was an edited package in a sponsored spot. This was post production. Yeah, this wasn't like a thing they showed over the Titantron. It was one of those Slam of the Week deals.
Yeah. I mean, it was I was shocked that ESPN used that clip, on their Sports Center package. I mean, that was more shocking to me. WWE, you almost expect it, but ESPN actually using that clip, that was nuts.
I thought this match was okay.
The match was fine. They worked well, but the crowd killed it, and it made it.
It was such a weird pace.
Because of that, it made it seem like it sucked.
Yeah, it was a weird pace, and if the crowd was hot for it, that would have been one thing. They went 14 minutes. I don't think they needed to go that long.
The fans have turned on Charlotte. They don't care about her. And, I mean, this is Atlanta. If she's not...
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah. This is Flair country. So if she's not getting over in Atlanta, they've kind of, booked her into a place where they shouldn't have.
At what point do you just start listening to the damn fans? If the fans want to boo Roman Reigns, maybe do something to make them boo Roman Reigns. If they want Sasha Banks in the damn match, maybe call an audible and get Sasha Banks in the damn match. They have this weird thing, and it's happened for a long time, where a person gets really, really hot, even if it's like in the early stages of their character, and they're really hot, but WWE won't pull the trigger on them. I remember when Dashing Cody Rhodes was such an over character. Wouldn't pull the trigger on him. Too late now.
Yeah,
Just
I'd like to
like that.
think that. I'd like to think that there is a longer term plan, because I don't see how they can ignore the kind of fan reaction that Sasha. Jeez, why do I keep doing that?
Oh, I don't doubt that they have something planned for Sasha Banks. I'm sure they do.
So if they pull the trigger now, then that takes her out of that kind of takes her out of that picture around WrestleMania time. Now, if the plan is for, Charlotte and Paige to feud, and then you move to Sasha at Mania and have Sasha get her big win at Mania, then it's best not to do it yet, because it'll be old by then.
Well, they've been working a Sasha and Natalya program, and you would think that the match would be tonight, maybe on the pre-show.
Yeah.
No mention of it this week. Neither of them on the shows.
Even a backstage segment or anything. So
nothing. So you get your most over diva. Nothing. You have one of your divas that's one of the best workers to go along with her. I'm sure they would have had a kick-ass match.
The only thing I can think of is that they were worried that the fans would start chanting, "We want Sasha" during this match.
Good point.
And by kind of keeping her in the background, they don't get that. And, they didn't get that. And there were a few fans here and there that you could hear were trying to start the "We want Sasha" chant, but
if they chant that, I think that the best course of action would be to perhaps give them Sasha, but
right. But, they gave this feud the final segment on Raw, so they don't want to make it seem like it's bombing by having them chanting for someone else. But
something else that bothered, and I mean, like I said, I thought the match was fine. Not hating on the match, I thought it was okay. There were a couple of weird spots, but Paige said her catchphrase like 6 times in this match.
Yeah,
it's like
it seems forced, and she's such a natural with most of the stuff she does.
Yeah,
but when she keeps yelling, "This is my house," it's just kind of like.
As I tweeted once, that's an awful lot of property tax.
Yeah,
she can't afford that. And I said that she needed a secondary catchphrase, and I think it was Nick Van Pelt that said she should just say, "Get off my lawn."
Yeah.
So I like that one.
That'd be pretty good.
But yeah, Charlotte wins with the figure 8. I feel bad for these girls for being put in this situation. And I rewatched that segment this week, the Charlotte thing. It's like I felt so uncomfortable watching it the second time because I knew it was coming. And when I knew it was coming, it looked like she was like, "Oh damn, here we go, no going back. I can't believe I'm about to say this."
Mm-hmm.
And then she said it, and I feel terrible for her, especially with the way that Ric Flair reacted. And
I think
we had Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think on our podcast, I think last week on the Raw podcast, I think I said something that, well, obviously Ric Flair was contacted about this. Like, to me, I was like, this is low class, bad taste. Obviously, they had to have contacted Flair, and to find out that they didn't contact him, and he was just on their European tour. It's not like they've lost contact with him. He was just on their European tour, 2 weeks ago.
Didn't contact him before or after.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell, I mean, I was just shocked. I was shocked at the whole thing.
And I'm not against,
but not shocked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not against envelope pushing storylines at all, but this is Reed Flair was not a character on the show. I know that they've exploited Eddie Guerrero and Paul Bearer before. Paul Bearer's family was consulted before. Also, they were characters on the show, and, I'm sure Vicky was consulted about the stuff about Eddie. Those are 2 guys who likely would have given anything to wrestling they could have. It still wasn't in good taste. Reed Flair wasn't on the show. Maybe he would have done that too. He would have been okay with it, but we don't know, and his family wasn't okay with it. It is just bad taste. On Empire, this is a fictional show. On Empire, they don't bring up about how Terrence Howard's dad stabbed a guy in a market one time because it doesn't make sense. You don't need to bring that up. You write a good enough storyline, you don't have to do that. 26 writers, and they couldn't have come up with something better than that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I hope that they've learned a lesson this time, and they don't exploit deaths in the future. I don't, and I think a lot of it has to be Vince, because this happens under his watch. The Eddie stuff was,
I find it.
Paul Bearer stuff was, just because that was right after his death too, and Paul hadn't been with the company for a while. So
are you trying to tell me that a 70-something-year-old man with a Tyrannosaurus Rex head on his wall is a little bit out of touch with his audience?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing something right as far as on the business end, because they're making money, and the network is, it's doing fine. It's not going to get anywhere. Yeah. They're not going to get to the 3 and 4 million subscribers that they were talking about at one time, but they hit their million. They're over a million, so that's good. But creatively, if it was working, we'd all know it would show, and it's not. Indeed.
Next up, Tyler Breeze over Dolph Ziggler. This was a short match. Breeze won with the Unprettier, which he's been using as a finish lately. Fine match. Breeze should have won, and Ziggler was actually favored in the betting odds not by much started.
Though.
Yeah,
you can tell when they got the inside scoop, because that's when you get your minus 2,000, favorites and stuff, and when they don't, that's when you get your minus 250s and stuff like that. So
indeed, not really much to say about this match. It was fine. I hear they've been having great matches on the house shows, so it is what it is. Next up, Brothers of Destruction versus the Wyatts. Undertaker had his typical fantastic entrance, and he looks more like Frazier Crane every week. Have you seen the memes that people have put together of like Frazier playing the piano with Undertaker's head on it?
No, I have not.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're great. They're really good. But mercifully, the WWE picked Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper for this 10-minute match. Braun Strowman got double choke slammed through a table outside. That was kind of a cool spot. Really liked that. Undertaker and Kane won after Undertaker tombstoned Luke Harper and pinned him. Thoughts about this? Undertaker getting the win, Luke Harper taking the pin?
I don't know. The Wyatts, they're supposed to be pretty much like one of the top heel acts in the company. And they're basically given the Spirit Squad treatment, like basically squashed, nothing. It's made to look like complete geeks. And I don't know. That's not. I think it could have been a longer match. You have to put the heat on Kane. Have it. You have Taker get beat down for a while with Wyatt, but it basically was just almost an enhanced squash match. Like it. The heels got a little bit in, but Taker and Kane were never really in any trouble, and it basically beat up 4 guys like it was nothing.
Do you ever just want to shake the creative team or the bookers and say, why won't you get people over?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm okay with Undertaker winning. It's just the fact that they just jobbed out everybody.
Right, exactly. And if the plan is that you're not going to build this match really anyway, because I mean the build for this match has sucked. Why not give him a couple other guys that it's not as big a deal? If it's supposed to be just a showcase anyway, then maybe guys that aren't at the top, because it's it's not like this match meant anything anyway. They didn't even announce who the opponents were, and so
another one.
Two of these guys are going to be wrestling them. So
I think this was a novelty match. It was the Undertaker's, whatever. And I'm sure a lot of people showed up just to watch the Undertaker, because that's just the way things are. I went to Night of Champions 2014 just so I could say I saw Brock Lesnar wrestle. So I mean, I've been there, but I don't know. Do you think they're going towards Undertaker and Strowman at Mania?
Well, I mean, really, what are the what are the real alternatives? Strowman, Cena, and really, who else?
That's it. I think it's it.
I can't think of anyone because Rock's out, Batista's out, Lesnar they've done, and they finished that. So yeah, Sheamus.
They got to stop doing the almost obligatory trilogy of every match they ever do with anybody.
Yeah,
every single feud is like a best of 3. Sometimes we just want to see them fight one time and it be done. Just move on sometimes. That's okay on occasion.
Yeah. You know what? I do take that back. I don't see them doing Strowman. With the way they laid him out at this pay-per-view, I think if they were going to do something, they would have protected him more. And so that leaves Cena, and I can't really think of anyone else.
I'm okay with Strowman being in the role he's in. They don't have him exposing his weaknesses. He has them. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what he does. But he doesn't need to be in a big time match at WrestleMania. Not right now. Maybe he'll develop. I don't know.
No, I don't. I don't think people buy him as a monster. It's not like the reactions from the crowds are like, whoa, like awe or anything like that. It's just kind of like, okay, we see what you're trying to do. We're sitting here watching it, but we're not buying it.
So that was the show because we talked about the main event. How'd you feel about the show?
And another thing, just one more thing about Taker. Someone on the comment section, I totally forgot about this, pointed out that it's 25 years his anniversary. Well, I guess technically not his anniversary, but 25 years. And 25 years ago, Taker was 25. So
wow,
yeah, him and Kane, the combined age was 98 years old, and they squashed these 4 guys who are all in their 30s except for Bray, who's in his 20s. So that's what they're doing.
That's why nobody gets over on this show. And I'm okay with Undertaker winning.
Yeah,
like I said,
and he probably should have, but yeah, you could pick other guys or have it be, I don't know, anyone else. Whatever.
Indeed. As if I couldn't get more depressed, I'm watching the Bengals lose at the buzzer. Man.
Oh, no, they just tied it up?
Yeah, they just tied it up, and now they've allowed Carson Palmer to drive it to the 30-yard line to where they can kick a field goal and win the game.
Oh, yeah.
All
right. Well,
another dove cries. So something I wanted to talk about before we got to the mailbag. TNA signed a new TV deal. Ring of Honor also got one, but really not much of a change from what they have now. But TNA moving to Pop TV. It's in more homes. They're getting paid less money from what I understand, but it isn't a time buy, which is good because Paragon Pro Wrestling was a time buy. Your thoughts on this situation?
At least they're staying alive, so that's good news. It's kind of the same thing as with WWE. Are they going to be able to make the changes that they need to be an alternative? They need to stop trying to be like WWE. If anything, they should use NXT more as a blueprint. Mm-hmm. For a smaller company without that kind of production budget and everything.
If they have Mala Bali Shera win that title in India, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they move the tournament finals now to the live show, because I don't think it makes sense now to do it in India, the tournament finals.
Yeah, man, that guy is just garbage juice in the ring. He's miserable.
Yeah, but they've lost so much of their talent. Like who
they don't have any money.
Yeah, who do they get? Aries, by all accounts, looks like he might be heading to NXT. James Storm is gone. AJ Styles doesn't seem like he has any desire to go back. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I hope they do well. I'm glad that they're going to be able to be seen by more people. This is another chance for them to start over. They did for a little bit on Destination America with the tapings in England, but unfortunately the production values weren't that high. It maybe drove a few people away, but this is a real opportunity for them, and I hope they can do it. To me, I think they have a lot of guys who perform the same exact way on their roster. You don't see a lot of difference between a lot of their guys, but same could be said for WWE as well. And also, there's a lot of the same 50-50 booking problems there too.
Yeah.
But I hope they do well. As for the questions, we have a question for me and you. How much PWG do we know about or watch, Raj?
I haven't watched this year's the Battle of Los Angeles, but I've watched other years. I try to watch it when I can, but it's I'd like to watch more. I always enjoy it when I do, but not enough.
And I watch it as much as I can. I wait till the DVDs come out. I usually buy the DVDs. Some of them I don't end up getting to watch, but PWG is fantastic. It's honestly probably my favorite wrestling going, period. But I wish it was. I know that they can't because of a lot of contractual obligations. Like there's a lot of talent that can't appear on iPay-per-view because deals with Ring of Honor and things like that. They can't appear on iPay-per-view. But the Young Bucks, when they signed their exclusive Ring of Honor deal, made it put in their contracts to where they could at least wrestle for PWG, which is pretty cool. So, a big fan of PWG. Somebody said, does this now mean Sheamus versus Reigns for WrestleMania 32? I don't think so.
Gosh. Yeah, I don't think so.
Could you imagine?
No way can this last until then.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That would be just
this is like I
tragedy.
said, they need a TLC main event, and I think this thing will come to an end, once Cena gets back. I think Royal Rumble is about as long as you'll see Sheamus's title reign. I mean, if he took off or something, I could see them reevaluating, but they booked him. I mean, and I don't really blame Sheamus for this. I blame the booking of him because he had some steam when he first came back, and then they just booked him in this tag team and as a jobber tag team, and yeah.
Chances that Roman Reigns gets a rematch clause. Do you think that him crying at the end is a killer babyface move? Also, did they do the Sheamus finish to get sympathy on Roman as a face? Yes, obviously that's why they did it. I don't know why else they would do it.
For sure. And I thought the crying, Hulk Hogan cried when he lost his title to Andre the Giant. I mean, he was like bawling and going nuts when he lost, and it just makes the title seem that important. It makes you realize like how much it means. So, I could see guys, they wanted to rag on him anyway. I bet you if Daniel Bryan was crying after losing the title, they wouldn't be, ragging on him. But I agree. I thought it was I thought it was cool. It added some emotion. I thought that whole ending was very much like the SummerSlam ending. Was that 2 years ago with Daniel Bryan, and then Triple H comes out, or Triple H was the referee. And then Randy Orton cashed in. So it reminded me, and they had the confetti and everything. So it reminded me a lot of that.
I was there in Cincinnati when Daniel Bryan vacated the title and cried, and there were grown men crying in the audience. I was not one of them, mind you, but there were grown men crying there. I don't get the feeling that people were crying when Reigns was, but I think it was a great babyface move. Good for him. Does Brock win the Rumble and we have Brock and Roman at WrestleMania? That would be fun, I think.
I don't know who else you'd put with Brock because they've done Cena. So other than Reigns, I don't know who else there really is. They've done Triple H. They've pretty much done all the credible guys on the roster. So yeah.
It'd be amazing if they could, perhaps build another credible guy. But who knows? Yeah, with Shin's, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, it would be great if they could, but they don't have much time. They got to have the plans in motion by January. So we're talking 2 months.
Well, I think there are ways they can do that if they have somebody like and this will not happen. This will not happen. If Samoa Joe debuted on their roster, threw out like 10 guys in the Royal Rumble. Laid waste to a bunch of people. You could have him versus Brock Lesnar, but they don't do that. They just don't do that. And that's their prerogative. With Shinsuke Nakamura announced for the ROH 14th anniversary pay-per-view, should he challenge Jay Lethal for the ROH World title? As somebody who covers Ring of Honor and New Japan, I would say that would be the biggest match they could possibly do.
I think that would be awesome. I would love to see that.
That would be great. I'm so excited for Lethal versus AJ Styles at Final Battle, and I'm really excited for Styles versus Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom. Definitely come check out the coverage for both of those guys. I'm always really not surprised, but I'm really excited by the response we get for those shows. It's really awesome to see so many people willing to be up at 3 a.m. to watch New Japan pay-per-views that we cover. So that's pretty cool. Is it safe to say that Edge is the best booked Money in the Bank winner?
I thought they did Rollins pretty good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Edge was better for sure. I can't think of anybody else that. And when RVD won it, right?
Yes, he won it, and then
challenged John Cena.
Yes.
So I like that too. Didn't have to backdoor his way into winning the title, and then he still wins it. So I like that one. I probably like that one. That one and Edge the best. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a while outside of Rollins. They really booked a great one.
Even Rollins wasn't that great. Rollins was still losing a lot. Once with the briefcase, they treat it like I don't know, now you can just job all the time since you have the briefcase, since you're going to win, probably win the title anyway. So I don't know.
That's one of the reasons I think they should make a person's win bonus be a part of the storyline. They're supposed to be prize fighters. They're supposed to be fighting, and if you win, you get more money. That was Kevin Owens' whole gimmick. Do you think Ambrose should still be in the title picture, or should he feud with Owens? I think he should be somehow, because then maybe he could stay at the top of the card and they could have a guy really over, but he's going to feud with Owens probably.
I don't see them going with Ambrose versus Sheamus for a pay-per-view main event unless they had something really strong on the card. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think he's with Owens for now, and it's Reigns and Sheamus, which makes the most sense with the direction they chose, coming out of tonight.
And our last question, who should challenge Charlotte next? This person says Sasha because TLC is in Boston. Boy, that would make a lot of sense.
Again, I don't want them to jump, do it to. Here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Sasha break away from Team Bad and feud with Naomi. And then Charlotte feud with Paige, and Paige eventually win the title. And then you have a heel Paige against a babyface Sasha Banks at WrestleMania, and you give them, 15 minutes or whatever. And Sasha wins the title. That's what I would like to see, and I think that would be awesome. But I really doubt, WWE has the Divas stuff planned that much in advance. So but yeah, I mean, that would be a cool match. I mean, Sasha would get a great reaction in Boston, but I'd like them to hold it off until Mania.
Yeah, Sasha needs to be on the damn show though. She needs to be on the show in some capacity. It boggles my mind that you would leave some of your most over characters off of the show. You don't see that with other, and this is a television show. You don't see that with other TV shows.
Yeah, but at the same time, this isn't a case where I feel like they're trying to bury her either, because they never have her lose and things like that. If she was losing matches that made no sense, then I'd agree. But I agree. I'd like to think they have a bigger plan and they're just not rushing it yet.
I agree.
You see what happened to Charlotte where they rushed her and she's getting booed out the building in Atlanta. So
yeah. Well, and I don't think Charlotte is like a lifetime. Obviously, I think Sasha gets it more than Charlotte, even though Charlotte's had family around forever. But I mean, Sasha, she would literally tell stories where she missed her grandmother's funeral to watch SmackDown.
Yeah,
I mean, so could you imagine that?
Yeah, I mean, she's a legit fan and legit, studies the business. So, and it shows.
Yes, it does. yeah, I would just like to see her on the show in some manner. And yeah, I'd like to see Naomi and Tamina get jealous of Sasha Banks, and that should be a stepping stone.
Yeah. This wasn't a question, but someone, or I guess it kind of is. It was a stupid decision was it a stupid decision to give 9 minutes to the first Ambrose Reigns match? And yes, I think in hindsight now, knowing that there wasn't a heel turn, it wasn't leading to a bigger story, then why do it? Why not just go with Kevin Owens?
Yeah.
Plus, Ambrose had already beaten Kevin Owens on TV on Raw a couple of weeks ago, so you give Owens a win back, so that way their feud means something. It's not, it gives it a little more intrigue, and then you have Reigns beat Owens.
I could see, and I don't know that they'll do it, but I could see this developing into like a Cena Michaels situation from WrestleMania 23, where maybe the big WrestleMania match or the big Ambrose Reigns match is at WrestleMania. I wouldn't mind seeing like Reigns win the title at TLC and then Ambrose win the Rumble. It's not going to happen though. But I would love to see that match on a grand stage, but I would have loved to have seen the Shield triple threat match too, but that's
right.
Rough situation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one that I kind of had just to throw in. Sami Zayn and Itami should be back pretty soon. Do you think Zayn goes back to NXT, or does he come up to the roster? Because his most recent program was Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens isn't on NXT anymore.
I think they'll probably put him back in NXT. I think the fact that they were starting to bring him back to, on the main roster, but then was working main event, kind of shows that they don't have big plans for him coming in. Like they don't see him as like Kevin Owens. So
I feel like he can become such a likable character, like Daniel Bryan.
It's the Daniel Bryan thing, yeah. But he's gonna have to work his ass off for it because they don't, Vince and Kevin Dunn and those guys don't see him, on that level.
And it's a shame because likable characters are not easy to come by in pro wrestling, but they are. Anything else you have to add before we go, Raj?
No, there was one question of who's the top heel in our eyes, Kevin Owens, Sheamus, or Alberto Del Rio. Man, that really brings to light how weak it is on that end. I think the most effective is Owens, but the one that's going to be pushed as the top is definitely Sheamus.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Jesus, man, it's rough. They had a real chance to turn a guy tonight. And, man, I don't know. It's sad. I hope I'm going to see it through, but whenever I see Sheamus, I don't want to watch. That's just the thing. I just don't. And if he's in a match with Cesaro or something that I know is going to be a good match, sure. But if he's got a microphone in his hand, later, who's winning the football game? It's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
But that's it for tonight, folks. We will talk to you tomorrow night after Raw. We'll be joined by Vince Russo, and we'll talk to you then.